Hello everybody, welcome back to Signing Day Central here at the Berger Varsity Football House on the campus of Lafayette College. I'm Gary Laubach along with Mike Joseph. Hopefully you know us as the play-by-play and color analysts for the Lafayette football team's broadcasts. And Mike has spent a lot of time in the last few weeks analyzing who would and who would not sign on signing day. And we certainly have a great list of 26 football players, 14 of them on the offensive side of the ball. And Mike, I know you spent a lot of time with Huddle. Explain to the people at home, because they're going to be able to go on the GoLeopards.com site and take a look at the recruits, take a look at some of their film, and all of that comes through a process known as Huddle.
Frank talked about it a little bit in the last hour, is how available some of these films are to watch, and things like Huddle, H-U-D-L it's called, and you can type in any name you want. You could put in Mike Joseph or Gary Laubach and H-U-D-L.
Not many highlights there.
Not many highlights, but it comes up right away. And a kid like, we're going to start here with Mike Donnelly, you put his name in, you put in H-U-D-L right afterwards, and then Mike's highlights come right up. And now, when you get to that area, you have to have a certain formatting system to run those highlights, but once you get in there, I mean, it is junior highlights. You can go and watch a particular game if you want to watch what a lot of coaches like to do. Most coaches don't like to just watch highlights, especially as a lineman. You might want to see how he blocks on the backside, how he does on the front side, how he does pass protection on the backside, how does he get out on a screen, those type of things. And you can watch full games. So HUDL is one of the best things they use, along with YouTube. So all the kids nowadays, they get their stuff right up there, and it's so easy to access. And when I went through, I think I got to 25 of the 26 kids. It was easy to see, and gives you a little perspective of what type of athletes coming in here to the college.
Interesting that you mentioned about what coaches want to see and necessarily not what they will see in a highlight video. So we were talking to Frank. If you missed that first segment, by the way, Coach Tamani was with us to give an overall picture of the recruiting season and how well Lafayette did. And we had an opportunity, and by the way, you can see that again on GoLeopards.com. It'll be up there after our Signing Day Central is completed here at the Berger Varsity Fieldhouse, but football house. When we talked to Coach Devani, he talked about linebackers in particular, in that a lot of the video that you get of linebackers is of them crashing into the line of scrimmage and making a tackle. But at the college level, you want to see the kid's ability to cover pass.
Yeah, with the spread offenses that are out there today, I mean, you want to make sure that he can have a solid pass drop, whether he's going to the curl area as a linebacker, whether he's going to take number 3 up the vertical seam so he doesn't get on the safety too quickly, and how does he basically get on a running back coming out of the backfield. So it's important not only to see the 25 or 30 highlights that most kids at this level of recruiting have, but to go back and find out how they're doing when the ball's maybe going away from them. Do they react? What kind of motor do they have? And that's something you're going to hear Gary and I mention a lot of is he's got a great motor. Well, how does he do on the backside? Does he run plays down? Does he take plays off? Some kids will quit on a play on the backside. You know, that happens to everybody, but this HUDL Huddle and along with YouTube has come a long way in really helping the recruiting process.
All right, we said we'll take a look at the offense in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll take a look at the defense in the 2 o'clock hour. We'll take a look at the 150th matchup at Yankee Stadium at the 3 o'clock hour with Dr. Bruce McCutcheon. We'll also talk to Ross Sherman kind of about this day and what it was like for him a few years back when he was a young man trying to get ready to sign a letter of intent. We'll also take a look at field hockey, soccer, men and women, their recruits for the season, as the coaches will highlight the recruits that have signed to come to Lafayette College. But right now, we want to take a look at the offense. Of the 26 players who did sign today, 14 of them are offensive players. And Mike, we're going to start with an offensive lineman, 6'4", 285, out of New Canaan, Connecticut. A couple of Connecticut players, both from New Canaan, signed with Lafayette today. This one is Mike Donnelly.
Mike Donnelly's a big offensive lineman, just again in that mold. And the average lineman they brought in this year at Lafayette, 6'6", 295 pounds. That's the average lineman. So you can see the size of those kids and how big they're getting. But Mike Donnelly's in that mold. New Canaan, Connecticut, right out of Greenwich. Lou Marianelli is his head coach. Now, Lou's been around about 36 years. So you know when you walk into Lou's office, you're going to get a good, solid kid. He's won 9 state championships there. And to get 2 kids out of that same school, starting off with Mike Donnelly, has been terrific. And you're going to get a chance to see Mike. We'll get his highlights right here. And
also played basketball.
He was
a center. Gives you an idea of his athleticism.
Yep, and you get a good look right there. Mike's number 59. He's going to be offensive tackle. You see the circle at the top. You see him pulling right here. Something Lafayette College does a lot of. You saw the backside with Brandon pulling, Brandon Hall pulling. Watch him here again. Good footwork. That's a 6'6", 295-pound lineman getting around. I basically said, great footwork, good. He's very well coached. You see him here again, just a good down block on the inside, opens it up for the running back. Very good technique. And when you play for Coach Marinelli, you play at New Canaan, you're going to have good technique. We're going to see that with Mike Root, a linebacker from the school as well. But here again, you just get a good chance, jumps inside right there, invites the defensive end up the field. Right here again, you get a good look at him, pass protection, long arms. See him right there fighting it off. He's got good, solid inside step with his right foot. He's a left tackle. I think he's in that same mold of a Charlanzio. Obviously going to have to get bigger and stronger, as all linemen are going to have to do at this level. You know, a very, very good get in Mike Donnelly from an excellent, excellent school. Saw
him there with some good pass blocking. He is a big kid. He certainly can stand up at 6'4", 285. And Lafayette always gets kids of great character. I mean, I'd say he's on the honor roll. Well, I'm sure everybody that of the 26 is an honor roll student if he's coming to Lafayette College. He's also a volunteer firefighter, so a kid with great character. Can't wait to see him.
Absolutely. Great school, great coach, great kid.
All right, let's take a look then at Collin Razor, another offensive lineman. Talk about size. Collin Razor is 6'7", 300 pounds. He played his football at Coatesville High School. This is a big, big lineman, Mike.
Yeah, and Collin Razor comes out of, like you said, Coatesville, another just a dominant school in Pennsylvania, has great technique. And what you're going to see from Collin is, in fact, obviously he's huge, a great player, good strength, good ability in the hole. And what you're going to see from Collin is what I call Z in the knee. Watch the flexibility when we pull up his statistics, his highlights here, of how well he gets into his stance, how well he gets out of his stance. These are the things that a kid like Collin, you wouldn't get 2 or 3 years ago without the ability to get a scholarship. And but to get a kid out of Coatesville, you and I have done so many games around here and had a chance to see teams like, here we go, that's Razor. Okay, just look at the Z, what I call Z in the knee, the technique. He's sound. You get, again, a good look at him right here. Low. Remember, that's a 6'6", 300-pound lineman that's as low as the guard next to him. Okay, again, he's going to be up top here. Left tackle, just gets on people, rides them. Look at the motor. So I talked about motor, finisher. The way he finishes people. Again, right in your screen here. Look at the pass set. Look at the wide base he has. That's something I'm sure Stan Clayton is just so excited about. When you got technique like that, that means you're well coached. You've gotten good coaching at the level of high school. And a guy like Collin Razor is just a terrific player. He looks a lot like Connor Stautel that we got last year, and we're expecting big things out of Connor as well.
He also was awarded as the most improved player at Coatesville High School over that 4-year period, which tells you he's a kid that likes to learn. He's learned the techniques. He's done a really, really good job, and he's a volunteer at the Coatesville Youth Institute, so initiative. I'm sorry. So another young man that just has done a lot of things in the community too. All right, we got a brief glimpse of Cam Smith. Now let's talk about him. Offensive lineman, 6'5", 295 from Medway, Massachusetts. He played at Medway. He already knows that he wants to major in mechanical engineering. Outstanding student, all-state first team in 2013, as named by the Boston Globe and ESPN Boston.com. So this is another good find for
Another good find, just right outside of Boston, about 25-30 minutes right outside of Boston in Medway. A very good league up there. Cameron comes in, again, 6'5", 295 pounds, and has the ability to move. Whether they're going to play him at guard or tackle, not sure right now. And but again, all these kids have to get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. But at the offensive line position, and you and I talk about that every year, is where can you step in right away? Well, offensive line is a lot different than as a wide receiver or a defensive back, a skill position. So these kids are usually given a year. Get in the weight room, get a little bit stronger, get obviously acclimated to Coach Clayton and his coaching techniques.
Just put cotton in your ear.
Exactly. But Cam Smith is the type of kid that just fits perfectly into the mold for Lafayette.
Yeah, Cam Smith, the offensive lineman out of Medway, Massachusetts. We'll get a look at him in action. He serves as a Pop Warner coach. He's part of the Medway Police Holiday Foundation. Really, really nice young man.
Yeah, get a look at Cam. Watch how low he stays coming out of his right here. He's going to get up and block a extra point here. See that big arm right there sticking up? He's going to block an extra point right there. But just keep an eye on how low he stays and how the level of his back when he comes out of his stance. Nice and low, right there. Boom, gets his head across the bow, keeps his legs driving. For offensive linemen nowadays, it's about flexibility. See him here again, just a down block, just a mauler, the road grader, just taking that 3 technique down. This is similar to some of the things that he's going to be asked to do here at Lafayette. And what that is that down block. You pull the backside guard. Remember, we had Crean and Kessel and Brandon Hall coming from the backside. So you're going to have to be able to down block a 3 technique. You're going to have to be able to pass pro a 5 technique. But you can see right here, the down block, the ability to stay low, get on your man, continue to get your motor going. Watch him here. Again, watch how low his back and his helmet is coming out. Remember, that kid's 6'6".
Oh.
Down, boom, boom, clears it out, creates space. I always talk about linemen creating a hole with their own body. Look at him here, just drive people down. And again, out of Medway, Massachusetts, just another excellent get in a year where Lafayette wasn't huge on getting offensive linemen. You know, a kid like Cam Smith is just a kid that you want.
Well, we looked at the depth chart, and we know why. Stan Clayton's going to have, what is it, 19
He's not going to know what to do with 19 kids. I don't know if he has 19 playbooks to hand out, let alone the
Well, and we've got one more that we haven't talked about yet. That's Nick Francis. He is a Anders Wuerffel, an offensive lineman, 6'6", 305 out of Percy, Pennsylvania. He played for Central Bucks West, which is just a great football school.
Another good school, and Lafayette seems to really be finding these kids out of some good CB West. I mean, what else can you say? Just a terrific get for them. Percy, Pennsylvania, another big kid, 6'5", 290 pounds. I think he's a little raw. You'll see him on film. He's number 74. Big, strong, another kind of road grader kid. Needs a little bit of work on his flexibility. We talked earlier about how much we like the flexibility of one of the first players we saw there. And then we moved on. It was Mike Donnelly. And then you get here, a lot of these kids are going to need some work on the flexibility, and that comes with working with Coach Potts and being a little bit more flexible, getting stronger and faster. And you're going to see that here with Anders Wuerffel.
Yeah, he plays lacrosse, so he's a good all-around athlete. He's also a young man who plans to major in mechanical engineering, another outstanding student coming to Lafayette, no surprise there.
Yeah, again, a really good motor. You know, gets up on you very quickly. You can see the double team right there. This is a little bit tough to see because it's farther away. But these are the kind of highlights that you get off a huddle. Watch him right here. Just kind of drive his man and finish right there. The ball's on the ground and he's still moving his feet down the field. And that's what you want from a big offensive lineman when we talk about motor. Watch him here now get up to the second level. So many times during our broadcast, we talk about being able to get off the double team and then get to the second level. Well, you can see him in the offensive guard here get 6-7 yards deep up to that second level. Watch him turn his hips right here. Good wide base, toes pointed out, works himself up to that second level. So Anders Wuerffel, another good offensive lineman, and all in the same mold. Mike Donnelly and Wuerffel and Collin Razor, and these are kids that you're going to add. You know, we're going to have to replace kids like Crosby. You know, we lose Crosby, and we lose Brad Borman.
And three redshirt linemen back.
And three redshirt linemen
guys
back.
have been around for a while.
So Stan Clayton's going to have a really nice situation. He's going to have a great stable of kids to plug in. And if one kid has to go down for a week, you know, he probably not going to have to worry. He can just kind of plug another kid in.
Yeah, it was nice to look at that chart. We did not have this luxury last year. We looked at that chart, and under the injury column, there wasn't anybody.
Oh, no.
So last year, that was not the case. As the year progressed, obviously some names came off of there and went back up into the available column. All right, so that takes care of the offensive lineman. A good get as we get 4 really good big kids, 6'4", 6'7", 6'5", and 6'6". Now let's go to the wide receiver position. We'll start with Nick Francis out of Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Over 1,200 yards actually last year in terms of running the football and catching the football. And he had for the season 12 touchdowns. Here's a very versatile wide receiver, Mike.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. That's what I really liked about Nick, is the fact that he does so many good things with the ball in his hands. And when you see his highlights, you're going to see the ball in his hands a lot. They get it to him in different ways. And Ridge is kind of a little bit of a throwback wing T kind of thing. Even though they'll spread you out, what they do is they like to get their players on the edge. And what you're going to see with Nick is a lot of handoffs to him, a lot of reverses, things coming back around. And has great body control, so keep your eye on that. And he kind of fits into that same mold as a kid we had last year, Tim Vangelis. Looks a little bit like Tim. Obviously, you want 3 Mark Ross out there, but it's hard to find a Mark Ross. But these are the type of kids that can mold into that, and Nick is definitely that kid. And he's 35, 40 minutes away in Basking Ridge.
All right, let's take a look at Nick Francis, 6 foot, 175, and here you're going to see a touchdown pass. Good grab.
Yeah, very good. And you're going to see great body control. And more you see these teams here, again, down in the 3-point stance. You're going to see him just kind of slide here to the flat, catches the ball, gets his eyes upfield, and then good acceleration here to pick up 15 or 16 yards. So they did a lot of different things at Ridge. Look at this, nice tight formation here. They come out of it, they slide him, now they run him on one of Lafayette's favorite routes, the wheel route. Bring him up the sideline. So when he comes in, he'll know when Mickey says run the wheel, he'll know what the wheel route is. Again here, playing some defensive back down here at the bottom. Good back pedal. You're going to see right here. Got to make a play on the ball. So very productive. One of the first things you said, Gary, is he's productive both offensively and defensively. A really nice get out of Ridge. All
right, so that's one of 5 wide receivers, Nick Francis. So now we pay attention to our next one, Connor Goss, wide receiver, 6'3", 190. It's always nice to have these guys over 6 feet tall. Massapequa, New York, as he played at Kellenberg Memorial. And here is Connor Goss.
Oh, Connor Goss, 6'4". I mean, these kids just getting bigger and bigger. We talked about the average size of these wide receivers. 6'4", 195 pounds. We're going to see the same size in some of these other kids. But what we lose is a red zone threat in Mark Ross. And you and I always talked about it. We'll throw it up to him. We're on the 15-yard line.
Yeah, just get
throw
it
up. Well, these are the type of kids with Connor Goss is just kind of have a red zone threat, have the ability to run that fade, that slant, and then get the ball into the end zone, not only by running it. So we'll get a look here at Connor Goss at Massapequa, New York.
He had 56 catches last year for 522 yards and 4 touchdowns. And certainly had a very productive senior year at Kellenberg Memorial.
Yeah, you'll see him right there. He's going to be number 4, top of your screen. Works very well in the slot right here. You're going to see him. What I like about him, he's big, he's athletic. You see him there catch the ball with his hands. And one thing I know Mickey likes to see is kids that catch the ball away from their body. Right there, boom, hands coming back underneath. Remember, 6'4", 195 pounds, has the ability to get away from people and make plays. Big, athletic. I love the way he catches the ball. And he fits into that mold of the size of today's receivers. Again, you see him here working really well in the slot, and Lafayette's going to ask him to do that.
His brother Joe was all Ivy as a lineman at Princeton University, so football genes in the family, and he's a big kid, and he'll certainly be a big wide receiver. Takes us to Matt Mrazek, wide receiver, 6'4", 210. LaGrange, Illinois. He played at Lyons Township, going to major in economics. And another kid with great credentials, both as a student and as a wide receiver.
Yeah, Matt Mrazek is, I think, one of the top recruits that Lafayette had a chance to get. Now, Matt had a lot of offers from other Ivy League schools. In fact, I heard that there were Ivy League schools in his house just not only even a week or 2 ago, still trying to pull him away from Lafayette, but I think he was really set on coming here. He is an absolute, just a beast of a wide receiver. Take a look at this right here. You're going to see Matt, again, 6'4", maybe even 6'5", playing defensive back. Watch this. Now, I had a lot of interceptions in my career, Gary, but none of them that look like that. I mean, this kid can really play. I mean, you can just see, again, smooth on the outside. Got to come up. If you're a 5'9", 5'10" defensive back, you're going to have to make a tackle on a kid that big in the slot. He's bigger than Mark Ross. He's got very, very good speed. Watch him here line up as a tight end. He gets down the seam into the backside. Exceptional acceleration. You know, Matt is just a fantastic player. I think, again, watch this, down the sideline, hands, gets his knee in bounds. Just the bigger these kids get are amazing. I had a chance to watch Matt. If you go to Huddle and you pull up Matt, you can actually see his one-on-ones at the University of Illinois camp. He's at the Illinois camp. He's going one-on-one with the best corners in the state of Illinois. You can also see him at the Northwestern camp. So you can watch him, no helmet, just shirt, shorts, running patterns.
Against really good competition.
Really good competition. So again, one of those things nowadays you didn't have a long time ago is you can watch him one-on-one out of pads, see what he looks like, and get a real good feel. Great get.
He's also an Illinois scholar, obviously Honor Society, but he's a National Latin Honor Society member, which we won't be speaking Latin to him at all. All right, that brings up wide receiver Rocco Palumbo out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, our one Colorado kid this year. At Mountain Vista High School is where he played. He had 118 catches for 1,631 yards and 10 touchdowns. And another kid with great wide receiver size, 6'3", 185.
Great size and great strength, and you're going to see some excellent ability of his, again, catching the ball with his hands. Very smooth receiver. You know, he's out of a Highlands Ranch where I believe one of our basketball players, Joey Podzinski, is from the same area. Not sure the same high school, but here you get a look at Rocco Palumbo running that little bubble route that we talk about so often. And he's a kid that I think is very strong in the lower body and really has very nice acceleration. I know Mickey and the offensive coaches were really high on him. And this is what's so nice about Huddle. You can pull it up, you can take a look at it, watch Rocco go up for the ball right here, back of the end zone. Looks like one of Mark Ross's catches right there. And what I love about him, smooth receiver, nice hands. Reminds me a little bit, let's keep watching again, of Lee Kerfus. You know, Lee played at Lehigh, but he reminds me a little bit of Lee. He's got that same size, he's smooth, he's got good moves. He runs the same type of patterns, and obviously Lee was an excellent receiver. I always try to compare the kids to kids that I've already seen, and that's the kind of kid that came into my mind when I thought about him. But coming out of Colorado and knows how to use his body, great in traffic here. So you're going to get another look at Rocco down the seam right there, the ability to catch, stop on a dime, pick up good yardage, and playing a little getting vertical right here, catching the football. So,
well, you love anybody that's willing to come across the middle like he did there and knew he was going to get hit, makes the catch. And he also, another kid that's got good speed, is he was part of the track team, the 4x100, the 4x200. So certainly a young man that will be able to make some things happen here at Lafayette. Then we got a local guy, a guy that we have watched develop as a high school player as Mac Turk from Nazareth High School, a school where they throw the ball around a lot. So, he certainly is going to have the skills and certainly the ability to catch a football in a passing offense because he's been with one for 4 years.
Oh, yeah. Rob Milosky at Nazareth had him in a situation where he was in that spread offense, right at the line of scrimmage, running plays. And I think Lafayette's going to kind of morph themselves into that because Drew last year as a freshman, you're going to see Drew do more and more of that. But Matt Turk is a kid that really can get down the field and make plays. Don't overlook Matt Turk. He led the LVC in receptions and he led the LVC in yardage. So you're talking about a kid that went head-to-head with some of the best players in the Valley. And Matt Turk's got great speed. He plays a single X receiver on the backside. I really like the way Matt uses his body. You can see he ran a lot of the bubble screens right here, getting up the field, a tough, hard-nosed kid. The kid, again, very sure-handed, well-coached. You would think he's kind of a possession type receiver because he's just 6 foot, the smallest of all the big receivers we're bringing in. But Matty's got deceptive speed and obviously knows how to catch the football in a Rob Milosky offense. I think you're going to be excited when you see things that he can do. One guy that came to mind when I looked at him was the guy we had here, Johnny Wyrock. He reminds me a little bit of Johnny Wyrock. And, Johnny was not going to bowl you over with his size. But Johnny could catch the football.
It seems like anybody that comes in here that's 5'10" or 6 foot and he's a wide receiver, he's going to have great years here because obviously the colleges would not recruit him unless he had that kind of ability. And he had 57 catches for 748 yards. Had a ball game against Easton High School this past year where he caught for over 200 yards in that game. So certainly potential is just outstanding. So those are the wide receivers. We needed a tight end. We certainly need some depth at the tight end position. And Quinn Smith is a guy we got out of California, San Marcos, California. 6'5", 230 pounds. Tight ends have to do it all. Catch the football and do a lot of blocking, and this kid can do it.
Yeah, and I love Quinn Smith. I think he, again, is one of those top kids, those top prospects that we got this year. Mickey, I think I just talked to Mickey a little while ago, says he just weighed in at about 230 pounds yesterday. So a big tight end. And what you're going to see from Quinn Smith here is a lot of the same patterns that you saw Brandon Hall run. Here he's split out as a wide receiver. Remember, again, this kid's 6'5", 230 pounds. Great concentration on the football, comes down with the football in traffic. Quinn's, he's just an absolute beast. Very Brandon Hall-like, but a little bit faster, I think. And I think what caught Lafayette's eye is, look at the vertical route. Play fake inside, the ability to get behind the linebackers, catch the ball in traffic. Where's number 11? You're going to see him right here. Good release, very similar to Brandon Hall. Makes the catch, takes the hit, gets a few extra yards. Very tough to bring down in traffic. Watch this play. He's going to quick release, going to get that outside release, going to get his hands up, present a big target, 6'5", 230 pounds. Another red zone target, I think, that Drew Reed's going to need.
There is one thing that does concern me about him, though. It's not the fact that he's a great tight end and he'll come in here and play that position. But he also, in his high school, was the anchor as the broadcaster for all of the high school basketball games. And I just think Lafayette's setting me up to retire. I just have a feeling that Quinn Smith will be working the Lafayette games before too long. Another tight end is Dylan Wadsworth. Dylan Wadsworth out of Greenwich, Connecticut. Went to the Brunswick School. He's a tight end, 6'3", 235 pounds. This kid's been good ever since he stepped on the high school field. He was Rookie of the Year as a freshman, and certainly had a terrific career.
Yeah, Dylan Wadsworth is a very good player, very athletic, a little bit smaller than Quinn Smith, about 6'2", going to play at about 215, 220, and then kind of grow into that position. Dylan is coached, let me throw a name out here, Jared Shine. Jared Shine played here in 1992, was a punt return leader in the league, as well as a kickoff return leader. But Dylan is coached by him at the Brunswick School, number 85. Does a good job right here. And I think Dylan's going to be a nice inline blocker. Remember, we not only lose Brandon Hall, but we also lose Morgan Donahue. So two good inline blockers. Watch him just get to the flat right here and rolls that wheel route up the sideline and has the athletic ability to catch the ball over his shoulder. You know, I think Dylan Smith is not only a strong inline blocker, but is very, very athletic. I think you can split him out type of kid, flex him, and use him against maybe a linebacker that doesn't cover well in space. But you can see how athletic Dylan Wadsworth is.
I think a perfect example of his speed and his strength is he ran the 4x100 on the track team and threw the shot put. Oh. So that's an odd combination.
That is an odd combination.
But maybe not an odd combination for an outstanding tight end. They need to be athletic. They need to be strong, and he certainly is both of those.
And what you see here about these two tight ends is you see a lot of the similar patterns that Mickey runs. You know, you want to see the kid get down the seam. You want to see him slide to the flat, run the wheel route, block in line. He's going to not only work a lot with Mickey Fine in the passing game, but he's going to have to go over now and work with Stan Clayton and those other 19 linemen with inline blocking, and I think Dylan Wadsworth can do that. All
right, so we'll look forward to Dylan coming on campus. Now we move to the backfield. Our tailbacks, recruits this year, we'll start with DeSean Brown. He's out of Naperville, Illinois. He played for Naperville North High School, and he was a two-time unanimous all-conference player as a tailback. I don't think anything excites alumni more than a really, really good running back, and we've got a number of tailbacks this year.
Well, you look at the last couple of years that Lafayette has won the Patriot League and had a 1,000-yard rusher this year. Did it again with Ross Sherman. Ross is going to be a senior. So who is going to be that second running back? We brought in Aiden Greenfield last year. We also brought in Mayfield as well. So who's going to be that second running back with a couple kids graduating? And I think DeSean Brown, you know, one thing you can't teach, Gary, and you're going to see here is just flat out speed. I mean, DeSean can really run. Speed, vision, and a slasher. He's coming out of the end zone here. You're going to see him just kind of break this, and
he's gone.
He's gone.
Right there,
I mean, just flat out speed. DeSean can go. Naperville North, very good football team. Now watch as he's coming into your picture here, nice and firm and thick in the lower body as well. Excellent ball skills. If you're in the Lafayette offense, you're going to have to do one other thing, and that's catch the football. Watch him split out here. He's going to get the football thrown to him right there. Boom. Gets out on the corner, little bubble screen. So Mickey's going to ask you not only to run the rock and get downhill, but he's going to ask you to catch the football out of the backfield. And we saw some of Ross Sherman's best plays when he was split out catching the football. So DeSean has that ability. 6'1", 205 pounds, very strong in the lower body, great finish, and then has the speed to finish. And this is what I talk about. He just runs, you know, he really has great speed to run away from people. Nobody catching up to him. That's what you look for. And again, DeSean, number 43 here, you're going to see him again. Just boom, catches the football, and he's down the seam.
He's another one, all conference in football, in basketball, track and field. He ran the 100 meter, the 200 meter, the 4x100 relay, and the triple jump, and he was a team captain in those sports. So just another outstanding young man in DeSean Brown, and we'll look forward to his arrival on campus. Also a tailback, 5'10", 190, out of Chandler, Arizona, played for Basha High School, and that is Rashawn Merriwether. As he was an all-city selection, averaged almost 6 yards per carry and almost 100 yards a game. Yeah, and Merriweather's a terrific player. And Merriwether was offered by Northern Arizona after his junior year. So think about that. You come out, you're getting ready to graduate your junior year. I think it's May or June, and you're getting offered a full scholarship by Northern Arizona. But he wanted to get away. He wanted to go away, and Lafayette came in and offered him a scholarship. And this is another kid who's got fantastic speed and can really turn it on and go. And what I like about him is he actually plays and looks a little bit bigger. You're going to see DeSean right here. Rashawn, he wears number 6. Plays a little bit bigger. Again, catches the ball well. Watch him right here. Just straight, good inline speed. Yeah, one-cut runner. That's one thing I wrote down. A one-cut north and south type of kid. And also can catch the ball out of the backfield, has the ability to separate. Watch him swing out of the backfield right here. Catches this ball down low,
by his feet, and then watch the acceleration. I mean, you're just not catching the kid.
Long stride.
Really nice. Fun to watch kids like that and have the ability to watch them next year in a Lafayette uniform, but just a terrific player. I love the way he catches the ball and watch him accelerate. Looks like a track kid playing football, but still has the ability to make that one cut, make somebody miss. Look at that. Look at that jump cut right there. I mean,
we often talk about planting the foot. He can plant his foot.
Plant that foot, jump cut, and then have the ability to get outside, find people, and you know, Mr. Merriwether really can get it done. So Lafayette, nice stable of running backs, going to be here. A lot of choices to choose from.
Boy, you think he went a little overboard, not wanting to be close to home? I mean,
Arizona, you can see.
Arizona to Easton, Pennsylvania. Yeah. All right, so we'll welcome him, and I'm sure he's certainly looking forward to the weather that we have here in the East. It hasn't been good lately. Tailback Robert Speranza, 5'10", 190 pound, not as far away, Syosset, New York, and he went to Chaminade High School. What do we know about him, Mike?
Well, what I like about him, and Robert's just a pure football player. He can get it done. I like his defensive highlights as much as I like his offensive highlights. He can play linebacker, he can play running back. Just a good downhill run. It reminds me a little bit of Greg Kessel type of kid. You know, strong in the pocket. He wears number 33. I run a little bit of a wing tee offense here. You can see him playing the fullback position. He also played the tailback position and the wing position, but again, a little bit of a short strider, but again, has great acceleration and an incredible motor. This is the type of kid that I can see getting on the field in special teams next year and contributing not only you know, from the running back position down the road, but watch him catch the football one-handed right there, just separating. And Chaminade plays very good football. So, you know, I think Mr. Speranza has a very good future, especially on the special teams right away. I think he's a kind of a plug-and-play player where, you know, he's going to be a kid that can be maybe a personal protector on the punt team. He can run down on a kickoff for you because he's got such a good motor, and he's a pure football player. Wherever, Robert, you put him, I think he'd be a very good player for you.
And, Mike, that was the case last year. A number of our freshman scholarship players came in and immediately got themselves onto that special teams unit and really played very well.
Yes.
And some of them actually accelerated themselves right up to where they played a lot of football on regular downs.
And the better your backups are, okay, the more depth you have, the better your special teams are going to be. Because now you're not playing twos. There's such a drop-off from your ones to your twos. Now your twos are pushing your ones, and they're playing special teams, and you get great special team play. And Coach McFadden did a phenomenal job with them this year.
And he averaged almost 8 yards per carry during the season. All right, our final offensive player for this segment is a quarterback. It's Josh Davis out of San Juan Capistrano, California. And boy, Mike's been talking about him ever since he walked in the door today. So this is somebody that could really make a difference here on campus. And Lafayette right now a little thin at quarterback. And here's a young man that might be able to come in. He and Drew Reed end up being best of buddies and learning from one another. Yeah, Josh is going to find himself probably right in the mix right away as a backup or the third string. And Josh has got just great footwork and an incredible arm. I got to see Josh's junior highlights and then just recently saw his senior highlights. I mean, the kid's got an absolute rifle for an arm. And watch the footwork. Very similar to Drew Reed. 2 hands on the football in the pocket. He can still run the football. He's thick in the lower body. He plants well. I mean, this kid is a kid that was coached. If you know anything about quarterbacks, a guy named Steve Calhoun runs a camp called Armed and Dangerous. Had guys like Cam Newton in his camp. Had guys like E.J. Manuel in his camp. Well, Josh works with Steve Calhoun. So you can see the strength in his arm, the good footwork. You're going to see a head-on one soon. But just great, good footwork, always the same, always relaxed in the pocket, can move around, watch him square his shoulders up right there, find somebody down the seam, and has the strength to get the ball 25 yards down the seam again. I think Josh, here, watch him running this little speed option here, has the ability to get the football into the end zone. You know, coming all the way from California. Just watch his footwork. I just love his footwork down the line here. He's going to take this one for a touchdown. He's going to go around a corner. He's going to cut this football back. And we saw Drew do that a couple of times. You know, Drew is not just a thrower. You know, when he's going 21 for 22, we're saying, hey, Drew, stay in the pocket. Stay in the pocket. But he can also run the football. Watch, 2 hands on the football, squares up. He's going to come out here and then off balance makes a good 25-yard throw for a touchdown. So Josh Davis, a really nice get for Lafayette, coming all the way from California. And interesting, Drew Reed was in this same position last year, signing his letter of intent, probably thought, well, I'm going to have to wait a year before I get in there. There was no one more valuable in the Patriot League this past season than Drew Reed was. This young man, 38 consecutive starts as he threw for well over 5,000 yards and 60 touchdowns in his career. Josh Davis, the quarterback. So, Mike, the overall picture offensively, I think Lafayette certainly met the needs that they had.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very bright. They went out and they found two nice-sized tight ends. They went out and looked for a need at wide receiver because in the upcoming years they're going to lose 2 or 3 guys. They found a few offensive linemen. I think were some good surprises for them. They weren't really looking for O-linemen, but they brought in 4. And I think at the wide receiver position they did very well. The running back position, exceptional. Merriwether's terrific. DeSean Brown, just really nice players. And then to add a quarterback like Josh Davis, I mean, I think the offense is going to be very good hands, and to have Mickey Fine there and continue to do what he's been doing and push these kids and push this offense forward. I think we only saw about 50 to 60% of what this offense is capable of because Drew is so young. But upcoming, you know, getting these kids, there's nothing but athletes all over the field.
Well, that's a look at the offense. Once again, 26 new recruits coming to the Lafayette College campus in the spring to play some football here at Lafayette College. That's the offense. We'll take a look at the defense, 11 players and a long snapper. We'll take a look at that group starting at 2 o'clock. We hope you're enjoying signing day on GoLeopards.com as much as we're enjoying bringing it to you. For Mike, I'm Gary Laubach, and we'll see you very shortly when we talk defense.